Welcome to the Operation Bohica podcast. My name is Kevin, New York Jets fan since 1982, and I just wanted to talk about something that's kind of been on my mind the last few days as we head towards the end of the 2025 season and we head into 2026 and, of course, 2027. As you guys know, the New York Jets traded Sauce Gardner earlier this season, and with that trade, they got a first rounder in 2026 and I believe a first rounder in 2027. And then right before the trading deadline, the Jets traded Quentin Williams to the Dallas Cowboys. They got, if I remember correctly, they got a first and a second. Uh, and then they got Mozzie Smith, who's just kind of been basically a throw in. So the meat and potatoes of what I'm saying is the Jets have two first round picks in 2026. They also have two second round picks in next year's draft as well. And then in 2027, they've got three first round picks. Now, the last time the Jets had that was in the 2022 draft. In the 2022 draft, they were able to select Sauce Gardner with the number four overall pick. They selected wide receiver Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State with the 10th pick. And I believe the 29th pick was Jermaine Johnson, the second out of Florida State. Unfortunately, Sauce Gardner was not quite as good as we hoped, so he ends up getting traded to the Colts. Garrett Wilson has been everything we've asked him to be, and we know he's only going to get better, even though he's out due to injury. The first Jets wide receiver in the history of the franchise to have three consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. Jermaine Johnson unfortunately had a torn Achilles week two of last season against Tennessee, missed the rest of the 2024 season. Now back in full swing, and he's almost 100%. He's not quite where we were hoping he'd be, but I would believe that probably in the 2026 season he'll be back at 100%. So again, the New York Jets in the 2026 draft, they have two first rounders, two second round picks, and in 2027, three first round picks. Now, as it stands now, if the season ended today, the Jets would have the number seven pick in the draft. So there's this buzz about Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback out of Indiana, who is more than likely, I think he's a senior, I'm not sure, but he's supposed to come out into the draft. Uh, Tennessee, as it stands right now, they have the number one pick. They're not going to need a quarterback. They have Cam Ward. Unfortunately, Tennessee, they're 1-11, so the jury's still out on Cam Ward. Then the Giants would have the second pick. They're probably not going to pick a quarterback. They've already got Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is a quarterback that I really would have liked for the Jets to have picked maybe in the third round of last year's draft, but that did not happen. Uh, with that being said, the Jets did get AZ Thomas, so I'm happy with that pick. I think AZ Thomas is going to be a very good, very, very good cornerback in the NFL. And the way it's looking, he could be a multiple time Pro Bowler. Let's hope so. So that's been the buzz, and then there's talk about the Jets possibly trading up to maybe draft Fernando Mendoza with the number one pick this year. That's kind of that's kind of where I'm kind of 50-50. You can try to draft your franchise quarterback in 2026, be it Fernando Mendoza or if Dante Moore comes out, or the young man from South Carolina, I forget his name off the top of my head, or you could draft Ty Simpson out of Alabama. He had a heck of a game in the Iron Bowl last week. So you're looking at Mendoza, maybe Dante Moore, maybe Ty Simpson, possibly the quarterback from South Carolina in the 2026 draft. You can maybe take both number one picks and try to move up, which I don't think the Jets should do. Maybe just one of their first round picks, maybe one of the second round picks to try to move up if Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn are really set on getting this franchise quarterback, be it Fernando Mendoza or any one of the other candidates. Or what you can do, you can take those two first round picks and those two second round picks, and you can continue to build the rest of the roster, and you can wait until the 2027 draft where for sure Dante Moore is going to be available, for sure Ty Simpson, and for sure Arch Manning. And now Arch Manning has not had a super spectacular season, but I did have the opportunity to watch the Texas A&M game, and he looked very composed. He looked very much in control. He had the game-winning 35-yard touchdown run. So so props to Arch Manning. He would have the big advantage over the other guys just because of the pedigree, and also because he would have another year of experience under his belt. And I don't think he's going to do what Peyton Manning did 30 years ago and snub the Jets uh, with that fiasco 30 years ago. He stayed another year at Tennessee, ended up getting drafted by the Colts. Whereas if he had gotten drafted in the 97 draft, he would have obviously been the number one pick, which the Jets had, and they traded it to Pittsburgh. And that's a video that I made a while back. If you want to look at my channel, that's one of the underrated Jets draft mistakes that they've made. So just look that up on my channel. So that's kind of the dilemma where the Jets are at. Do you draft a Fernando Mendoza, or if Dante Moore or Ty Simpson come out, um, do you draft them and then let's say week 4, week 5 of next season, throw him to the wolves and let him get that year of experience? Uh, then there's the other factor, Tyrod Taylor. Does Tyrod Taylor come back next year? Obviously, he's been better than Justin Fields, no question. Justin Fields won't be back next season. But, who's to say that Tyrod Taylor, who's, let's be honest, he's had a long injury history. Who says that Tyrod Taylor doesn't retire? Then what do you do? Does that force you to draft a quarterback in next year's draft? So that's kind of it's not really a dilemma, but it's a very hard decision that the Jets have to make. Do you continue to build the team around the future franchise quarterback? Do you use those picks in 2026 to do that? And then with one of the three first round picks in 2027, you draft your franchise quarterback. And then with the other two picks, you build up the roster even more. Because you have to understand when you have especially a first round pick should be a guaranteed starter coming out of the gate. Once you hit your third and fourth rounders and below, those guys have to kind of fight for their jobs. But a first rounder should be a guaranteed starter. Second round pick is probably may not start quite right away, but then um, build his way up to becoming a starter. So I really don't know what the Jets could do. There's a part of me that says, okay, go ahead and draft your franchise quarterback now, be it Mendoza, Simpson, or Dante Moore. Have him have a year of experience under his belt, and then with the other picks, um, build up the rest of the roster. Here's the other thing, though: even though the Jets need a franchise quarterback, and you absolutely have to get that right, especially because of some of the players that Darren Muji has been acquiring, like Jawan Briggs, John Mechie, Adonai Mitchell. You have Harrison Phillips, and then the guys that were drafted this year, Ahmad Membu, AZ Thomas, Mason Taylor, Malachi Moore. So you've got a good young roster, and those guys are getting playing time. So those guys are getting experience. They're getting their reps. So come next year, they're going to have more experience, more confidence. Then you have Aaron Glenn and his staff with Tanner Engstrom as the offensive coordinator. He's going to have another year under his belt. I tend to think that Steve Wilks is probably going to come back as defensive coordinator. He's going to have another year under his belt. Then you have the special teams coach, Chris Banjo, who should be a candidate for assistant coach of the year. They got to have some kind of special teams coach of the year award. Chris Banjo, he should run away with that award if that award exists. Then you know is another NFL team going to try to poach Chris Banjo as the head coach? So there's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration. But uh, it's not just the quarterback. Just from all the games that I've watched this season, the Jets really need help at edge rusher. That is a position of they've got to get it. They need another edge rusher. Let's be honest. Will McDonald, he did have that great four sack game against the Cleveland Browns, but let's keep it real. Will McDonald he's been hit or miss. Jermaine Johnson is not completely recovered from that Achilles injury. Hopefully, he'll be back to 100%. He is showing signs though uh, of uh, of being that sack artist that we desperately need. Let's keep it real. The Jets have not had a legitimate pass rusher since the days of John Abraham, and just like the Jets have been searching for a franchise quarterback since the days of Joe Namath, the Jets have been trying to acquire that franchise pass rusher in the mold of Mark Gastineau. John Abraham was very good, but he was not at the level of Mark Gastineau. So the Jets are hoping to get a franchise quarterback and hopefully a franchise pass rusher as well. Uh, Watching Miles Garrett at 30 something years old, he's my man's still getting it done with 19 sacks. Do you try to trade for Miles Garrett? But the Jets are going to have to give up too much for him. There's Ruben Bain I think he's out of Miami. There's T.J. Parker out of Clemson. There's Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M who disappeared in the Texas game. So that'll be a very interesting thing to see what the Jets do in the draft. But they've got to get on top of a franchise quarterback. Do need an edge rusher or even two edge rushers. They need some young blood on the outside of the defensive line. They've got Jawan Briggs. I think Jawan Briggs is going to be a starter for the Jets for years to come. He has really been. We talk about Adonai Mitchell and we talk about John Mechie, but I think the best acquisition that Darren Muji has done this year is to get Jawan Briggs. I mean, this young man has come out of nowhere, has really uh, has really come out with a lot of fire this season, along with the stabilizing presence of Harrison Phillips. So the Jets, they've got the defensive tackle spot taken care of, and also the Jets are going to need a linebacker or two. Kiko Magawa, he's getting his reps, so the jury's still out on him. He's playing well, but he's not. I wouldn't say he's playing spectacularly, but again, he is a rookie, so got to give him a chance. Uh, I don't know. I'm very iffy about whether Quincy Williams comes. I know Jamie Sherwood's not coming back. He won't be back next year. Quincy Williams he's still playing well. He'll be 30 years old next year. Maybe the Jets are going to want to go younger at linebacker, but again, Jamie Sherwood, he's done. He can stop the run, but in coverage, Jamie Sherwood is just not that good. Then, of course, even though Tony Adams had a sack uh, this past week, I don't think he'll be back at free safety. Unfortunately, we lost Andre Cisco due to injury, so that's a position that needs to be filled. I think Malachi Moore at strong safety. I think that he's gonna have that position on lockdown for a long time. So the Jets are close to building the right offense. They've got a lot of the pieces in place. As far as the defense, they're getting there too. So the Jets they're they're getting close, but not quite turning the corner, and that's why they're 3-9. But like I said in my last video, props to Aaron Glenn. The team has not given up on him. But of course, the big decision out of all this, on top of edge rusher and linebacker, who are the Jets going to select as their franchise quarterback? And will they select him in 2026 or in 2027? And that's the big dilemma, so to speak, that the Jets have. A few days ago, I thought maybe they should just build more of a team and then draft the franchise quarterback in 2027. And of course, when you're talking franchise quarterback in the 2027 draft, the first name that's going to come to mind is Arch Manning, regardless of what Dante Warren does this and next season, and regardless of what Ty Simpson does at Alabama this or next season. Uh, the golden child of the 2027 draft, especially at the quarterback position, is going to be Arch Manning. And, what would the Jets give up? Let's say in 2027 to try to get Arch Manning. I wouldn't go no more than two first round picks, and I'm still iffy about that. But those are my thoughts about the possible quarterback franchise quarterback dilemma. Let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. This has been the